experiment. I want to do one barrel with sand and the other with 60-90 rough grit. Let's see if it farts.
Rock tumblers! What happens when you put marbles in a rock tumbler? Let's find out! Woo!
I got the idea to tumble marbles when a few months back I tumbled some glass that I found along a local railroad. Look at all this cool glass that I found. This tumbled in my rock tumbler for 3 days in sand. So I thought I would try it with marbles. These aren't marbles, but they're glass. You can see they're all shiny. And I absolutely love cobalt blue. Just absolutely cannot get enough of it. It's absolutely beautiful. My experiment. I want to do one barrel with sand and the other with 60-90 rough grit. First stage. So I'm going to do these even. With even amounts. So we'll put some marbles, some of this glass in there, and we'll get them going. Divide that in half. Woo! Alright, some of these. No! Perfect. I'm going to try 2 tablespoons of each in this because it seems like when I put grit in here, there's too much sitting on the bottom. I'm going to do stage 1, silicone carbide 60-90. That's the rough stuff for the first stage for rocks. Alright. 1 and 2. And then we're going to get some sand. It looks like brown sugar. We are now baking. We're now baking faux marbles with this sugar. Ha! Sand and grit. 60-90. Alright, let's put water in there to just an inch below the surface. About like that. Kind of hard to see probably, but yeah, grit, sand. Glass on. Okay, see you in 3 days. Woo!
Time to check the marbles.
Let's go. What will it be? Oh, that's interesting. Oh, you know what? I better leave this like so I know that's sand. Kind of looks like a sandy color. I don't know. Ooh, pretty so far. None stuck. That's good. We'll rinse that later. Ooh, those are beautiful. Oh, those are so pretty. Well, let's see. We're going to have to dry these off to really test after we check them. Okay, let's see this one now. 60-90 grit. Let's see what this slurry looks like. Oh, this is very different. Oh, they're stuck on the bottom. Interesting. I'm getting that. Probably too much grit. That's what I'm thinking. I might need to start an experiment with less grit. I saw on a Facebook comment that someone said to use 1/3 of what the manufacturers say for grit. They just want you to buy more grit, that you don't need that much. And wow, this is my 3rd tumble in the last week or 2 where it's done this. I don't know why the first ones didn't do that. Very interesting. Okay, I'll clean up this guy. Okay, looking at these look definitely more frosted than those with the sand. So we're gonna dry these off and look at them closer, but just at a first glance here, I'm thinking, I see the difference. Don't you? This is clearer. This is more frosted. Interesting. This was only after 3 days, so makes me wonder if I should throw it on there for another 3 days. I'm kind of thinking yes. All right, we're going to dry these off and we'll take a closer look. Okay, these are all dried off, and as you can see at a glance, there might not be much of a difference, and it is subtle. But you can also see that, well, that's not a good example. But check out this blue glass. This is where you see the difference. So this is sand, and then this is the grit. Let's see, let's do this. So it just depends on the effect that you want when you're going to use these. And I can see the difference here, but it's really subtle. Let's do another one. This, sand, grit. Yeah, so as you can see, the grit definitely wears down quicker and causes more of a frosted look. This also feels rougher. So here are a couple marbles before they were tortured. Yeah, beautiful, huh? I forgot to save one of these, but you can see the difference. Okay, so now let's do sand in the middle and then grit on the right. I think I'm going to throw these in here for another 4 days. So that'll be a week total in sand and grit. And then we'll see if there's even more of a difference. There should be. So here we go. Let's load them up. So we're just going to continue with another 4 days. And it's going to be 2 tablespoons of sand for these. And 2 tablespoons of 60-90 grit for those. All right, these are all loaded up, and I just noticed that the volume is a little bit less in the grit barrel versus the sand barrel. That makes sense since this grit was definitely more productive than the sand. So I'm just going to leave them like they are. Looks like brown sugar. I said that last time. Let's get it fired up. Woohoo! Making notes. This is really scientific, you know. As you can see, some time went by. I was sick. Let's make sure it's going. Okay, looks good. What is today? Still stage 1. 12-9.
Hey, time to check the glass. You know, I see some bowing on the bottom of 1 or 2 of these. Let's check it.
Okay, I've got these side by side, and you can definitely tell that one of them is bowed out from the gas, because glass does this sometimes. Let's see which one it is. Oh, not the sand. It's the grit. Look at that. Yeah, this is totally flat. So I think because the grit is better at grinding and wearing down the surface, it produces more gas. That makes sense to me. It's got some gas. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Okay, let's do the sand first. I've been tumbling for 7 days. Oh, pretty. True test going to be when they dry. Compare the two. Time for the grit. Let's see if it farts. Ooh, so this lid, because of the gas, it's sticking up a little bit here on the edge. There's not much of an edge, but there is here. Interesting. That makes sense. Oh, look at that. Gray because of the grit color. Oh, some of them are stuck in there again, just like the rocks. Interesting. What's up with that? Dig. Gotta figure out why it's doing that. Okay, these are all dried off, and we've got the sand versus the stage 1 6090 grit. I can see a difference, definitely. I think I actually prefer the sand look, but it just depends on what you're going for, what you're going to use these for. Are you going to display them? You can mix them together and have an assorted variety, you know, of different frost variations. I think they're pretty cool. I like these for sure, but, you know, these have their purpose as well. Let's compare it to all three. Not much of a difference, but one thing you want to also note is that the sizes, of course, the grit is going to wear down more of the surface. So you can see that that's smaller. I wish I had kept one of these that was totally clear, but oh well, it's at the beginning of the video. Also, you can see that the pattern is more worn on the grit versus the sand. So it just depends on the look that you're going for. I don't know, it's pretty cool. A fun little project. Oh, I saw one in here. Who's ever seen the inside of a marble? Look at that. I don't even know what those patterns are now that I think about it. Looks like plastic to me. Ha, too funny. Funny little experiment. You know, I'm going to take these outside and we're going to look at them to see if they look any different. Forgot to point this out. Who remembers the jumbo marbles? Look at that. I wish they had one more that was in the pack. I could have done it in the grit, but this is the sand version, so obviously it would have been cloudier if it had been in the grit. Okay, we've got these outside, and I think you can see more of the difference here. Look at that. Sand, grit. Very cool. I think these turned out really well. Okay, that was a really fun experiment. I hope you enjoyed it. So the next question is, what do you do with these? Let me know in the comments. Meanwhile, I've got a suggestion. I've got a glass bottle. I'm going to put some of these in here. Let's mix them up. Ha ha ha. Okay, here we go. Now the fun part. Which will fit? Oh, only the marbles will go in. Okay, that's fine. I see how you are. That's all right. We can do this. Ooh, I love that sound. Let's see if these will go in there. Ah, they will. Uh-oh. Hang on. Gotta be able to put the lid on. Which is, of course, glass. I'm not going to tumble that. Look at that. That's cool. That'd make a cool display. Okay, I couldn't resist. Look at this pattern I just did. I think I'm going to put them in this jar in a pattern. So here we go. And there we go. Very cool. Nice little frosted glass project. Hee hee hee. Woohoo!